I'm Donna, and today we're going to go over joining our hand to the body. To start, we'll go open our main body file, so the one we've completed earlier, and we'll go to File, Merge, and then we will look for our hand, which should be here. Okay, so we select our hand and we'll go OK, so that'll bring it into the scene. We'll turn on our angle snap up here and we will rotate 90 degrees and 180 degrees around. Okay, we'll go into the front viewport and we need to scale our hand. So a good size indicator for hands is usually around the same size as our head, or our face, sorry. So we'll get the scale tool and we'll bring that down so that it's about the same size as our face. So from chin to about the top of the hairline. We just bring that down there like that. I mean, this is only rough since we'll have to match it to our white box hand anyway. So we can bring that over. Now what I'll do now is go to the Tools tab. I'll hit Reset X Form and Reset Selected, and then I'll collapse that in the front. So that resets everything back to 0, and so we've got a clean mesh to work with, and then I'm going to mirror it so it's over on the other side so we can start to place our hand. So I'll collapse that and I'll reset that X form again, and then I can start to position the hand. So we'll bring back the white box layer to do this, and we'll make our hand see-through by hitting Alt X on the keyboard, and then we can start to rotate. So I just turned off the angle snap so it doesn't try and snap all over the place, and I'll just start to rotate and position this to match the hand that we created for the white box. Might be easier to do this in the local coordinate system. So you just have to go use that pull down, look for local and hit local. So it'll only change the tool that you're working on. So if we move over to rotate or scale, sorry, it's still in the view reference system. So if you want to do it in, if you want to rotate in the local as well, you need to change that as well. So what we're doing here is we're making sure the hand is the same size and the knuckles all line up to where we created our proxy model before. Okay, almost there I think. Just making sure in the side view. I think that's going to be pretty close. You need to move that forward. So we want to get this right, otherwise it'll screw up our rigging and our hand animations. So just making sure all the fingers line up with our proxy and all the joint placement will be the same. Okay. So just a lot of slight adjustments. Okay, excellent. So we can hide our white box character now. Just doing that by going to my layers palette and just hiding it. By clicking the light bulb. Okay, so now we've got our hand in the right position. We need to start to join it to our wrist. So we're going to delete the turbo smooth and the proxy and the symmetry. We're going to grab our snap tool here, so that's that little 3 with the magnet. We'll make sure by right clicking on the icon that it's set to vertex only, and we'll close that. Then we're going to snap each one of these vertices to the nearest one of the hand. So there will be some areas like this one where we'll have to add, we may have to add more geometry, but for now we're just getting the general shape. Okay, so we'll turn off our snap and we'll select these ones, and we're going to start to reshape the wrist slightly to suit the hand. So we want a straight line from arm to hand, straight down there. We don't want the bone to look broken. So just going through and moving out some of the vertices to line up better with the wrist. Now we'll delete this edge on the hand. So we'll probably add a new edge in for the wrist on the arm, just to make things animate properly, so we have enough geometry there for the wrist to turn and twist. So I'm just thickening up the wrist a little bit here in the forearm to suit our hand. So we can go back into the front view and just to adjust this so we can get the look and make sure that we don't have a broken arm as we move these things around. Okay. We'll check again in the side view. I'll bring these up a little bit. So just looking again from the arm to the wrist. We can always adjust the hand a little bit as well when we bring that in, when we start to actually attach it. Okay, so that's good for now. We'll go to our hand. We'll select this edge here and hit ring. Then I'm going to hold Control and hit the polygon button here to change my selection to polygons, and I'm going to hit delete. Now, with my body still selected, I'm going to go down to attach. My hand still selected. Actually, I'll do it the other way around. I'll grab the body. It doesn't really matter which way you go, I suppose. But I'm going to go from body to hand. And then I'm going to grab the vertices here. I'm just going to do a marquee selection. And I'm going to go to weld and the weld settings, and change the threshold to something very small, so 0.0001 should be good. Nope, it's too small. 0.001, let's try that. There we go. And I'm just going to have a look and make sure that it hasn't pulled anything from the side and it's welding where it should. And then I'm going to hit OK. Now I just noticed too on the inside of the wrist, if we go into X-ray mode so I can see through, that it's looking a little bit strange, the curve here. So I'm going to just tweak these a little bit to bring these out. Okay. And there's that weird bend. To keep the shape of the wrist, I'm going to constrain the vertices to the edge, and then I'm just going to move these back so that they line up a little bit better down the arm. Okay, so when we constrain it, sometimes it doesn't always go in the direction that we want. So we can unconstrain to move that back. There we go. So straight down the arm. Might bring these in a little bit, so just using the constrain again. Just making some minor tweaks here to make sure that the arm is connected to the hand and it doesn't look like it's just floating free. Okay. Actually, before I move off that, I'll make sure that my constraint is set to none again. And then I'm going to go back in here and go to edges. And I'm going to insert a vertex here. And then I'm going to go around to this side and I'm going to insert a vertex there so I can join these up. I'll have to cut in an edge later anyway, but for now I'm going to go into vertex and target weld these in, so we've got no holes in our mesh. Okay, now in our polygon mode, we're going to go in with cut, and we're going to cut in the triangle from here to here to get rid of that end gong. I'm going to do it on this side as well. No, I'm going to undo that one. I'm going to do it from here to here, just to make sure that the edge is there. So if we go into edge mode and we turn on edit tries, you can see where all the invisible edges are lining up. So all these dotted lines are invisible edges, so there's two triangles that make up a polygon. Okay, makes sense. So, but each one of these edges affect how the face will look. So if we hit turn and we start to flip these, not so much there, maybe here, we can start to see the shadow change. It's a slight change on this one, but in areas that curve a lot, like here on the breast, you can have a drastic change because it changes something from convex to concave, and we don't want that in some cases. We want them to be a nice curved area. So just cutting those edges in there, and again for this side as well. So back into polygon, cut, and then just in there like that. Okay, now that we've done that, we can select these wrist ones a little bit, I think, and make sure we've got them all selected around the ring. And I'm just going to scale it in just a little bit, just to bring our wrist shape back. So that means I'm going to have to grab these ones as well and bring that in. So I'm just doing it on the Y just to get the shape. So that's this green handle just on the Y, just to make sure that the hand is flowing, or looks like it's supposed to be there. Okay, so I'm just going to tweak some edges here now. Just to bring these around and to make sure that the edge flows nice and ready for animating. I'm just continuing to shape that hand a bit more, the arm, sorry, into the hand. Go back into side, into the left viewport. Yep, that's looking pretty good. Same with the front. Okay, excellent. Now what we'll do is we'll select our element and make sure everything is selected, and we'll go all the way down to the bottom and apply one smoothing group to the whole model. So we'll clear all and then just hit 1. So if I turn off my edge faces, you can see everything's nice and smooth. The little black areas you're seeing around fingers, that's because of the nail. You can always go back in if you like. So I'm just switching to select so I don't accidentally move something. And you can select the front nails of the nail. Just deselect that one so I've accidentally hit the leg behind it. Again, I'm just doing this really quickly, but so you get the idea. So you can select those polygons, and then you can go back down to smoothing group, and you can hit clear and hit apply a different smoothing group. So if I go back in here, and I'll show you at the bottom. So you can have as many smoothing groups as you like. It's best to keep them as minimum as possible, because it can affect engines sometimes, having too many. Okay, good on you. What I've done, this is why we should always check our model before we apply something. So I'll just go in and I'll deselect these extra polygons so that I only have the nails selected, and I'll apply 2 to that. So if we click off, you can see that now that's a hard edge around those faces. So because they're different smoothing groups, you're going to have hard edges between them. Okay, so it just gets rid of the black around the fingernail as a visual reference. Just having a look at the arm, I'm not quite happy with that. I might grab the hands, all of the hand, and I'll grab the scale, and I'll just scale that fractionally, just ever so slightly down, because we still need to make it sure it fits inside our white box, but we also need it to sit nicely with the arm. So if I bring back the white box, I can see, yep, all the joints are still lining up and the angle is still correct. So that's better. And it also fits better with the arm. Yep. Okay. Now, just before we finish, I'm going to have a quick look at the rest of the body, and to make sure the edge loops are flowing nicely and everything is ready for me to say yes, the main body is done. Okay, so We'll look at the back. This was an area we neglected quite a bit before, so we'll move into back. I'll just make sure that that's on back here, and I'll start to move these down, I think. I'll round off that loop there, off the curve of the loop, so that'll help for when we start to animate our shoulders. I'll bring this up, and then just spacing these out a little bit better. Might bring this in towards the neck a little bit more, and towards the spine. So just some slight adjustments that I've noticed as we've moved around the body, just to finish the shape off a little bit better. So moving these down means that these will be the shoulder blades now. Move these out. So just some final tweaks of the mesh to make sure everything is perfect. So I'm just bringing these out because from the back actually goes up and into the armpit there. So I'm just shaping that a little bit better. I might bring that down. Same with the ones that are in here. Just move these down. That's better. So these are some areas that can be easily overlooked when we're working. I might actually change this one to the back so I can see the grid as well. And I'm going to bring these in just a little bit to round out the back a bit more. Since our character is more often than not seen from the back, it's always good to make sure we spend the time to get the back view right as well. So just zooming out again to make sure everything looks correct. So I'll bring this in a little bit closer to the spine. Start rounding these areas out. Okay, so I have a visual reference. I'm going to cut that in there like that, so that'll be where the shoulder blade is. So I just want to make sure I've got this in the right position and that the edge is going in the right way, so that's good. I'll bring these up, I think. follow the curve of the arm. Okay, now if I go back into my orthographic view, I can pull these out to show the shoulder blade a little bit more, so I'm going to put it on an angle. We can bring in the spine a little to deepen that groove, just to accentuate that a little bit more. So making sure the back X still follows that bean shape. Follow that, bring that in a little bit more further down. We can always bring these out to show the musculature. Again, I'm still keeping my zygote body open for reference whenever I do anything like this, so that I can see where the muscle groups are and where they lie. Okay, so just having a quick look around the body. Bring this in a bit, I think. Making sure all our angles are covered. So front, spin around, have a look, make sure there's no weird shadows for crossing over, or everything's nice and smooth and round, so when we're looking at the shadow and the light, we can see where the highlights are. And what I might do is I'll throw on the symmetry and a turbo smooth so I can see how we're looking with those new changes. Grab the vertex and I'll leave the show end result showing. There we go, we're starting to get that nice back. Whoops, that's the wrong vertice, so I'll undo that. Get that nice back spine showing, and we'll bring this in. So you can see where that pinching is causing that triangle is causing that shadow to kind of create a pinch. What we might do is actually go in, we'll get rid of these edges here. So I'll select those three and I'll hit remove. And I'm going to grab these edges down the ring, so I'll turn off my symmetry, the show end result, sorry, so you can see the edges that I've selected, and I'm going to connect those and use the target weld to weld that in. Okay, so that'll get rid of that pinching on this edge here. So we'll need to go in, of course, now and bring this out and round off our shape. Make sure you check all views to make sure that we've got the nice curve going around the body. We can use constraint to edge and we can bring these in towards the back now a little bit. So since we've got this new edge, we can bring these in. Because having edges too close together will cause pinching as well. Okay, so we'll take off constraint and we'll continue to shape these areas and going around the view, the model, to have a look, make sure everything is working nicely. So again, using my constraint and just moving these forward now. Just to even out the spacing between this edge and the one that I just created. And taking off my constraint again. Making sure I go back into my front viewport. Make sure everything is still matching the silhouette. So just pulling those out a little bit. Go to the back view again. Just rounding these off ever so slightly. Because we don't want to ruin the shape that we've already created. Okay, I think that's pretty much the back done. Go into orthographic, we can have a look again. Yep, we're looking pretty good from the back. Alright, so at the front, I can see that we've got an engong here underneath the breast. So what I'm going to do, first I'm going to check on this collarbone here. Might bring that down and in a little bit, just to round out the base of the neck a little bit more. Okay, and now I'm going to add, to fix up this engong here, I'm going to go into poly, and it'll be easier I think in the front view. And using cut, I'm going to add an edge down this. Okay, we'll do this in orthographic view. Go under here and make sure we grab that vertice there, and we're going to add an edge towards the center of our character on her stomach. So this will define the ridge of the abdomen muscles, the core muscles, and we're going to bring this one here which will be where the belly button lies. So back in the front view, we can adjust these now to round out and make the shape look a little bit better. So I'm going to bring these in towards the center of the chest a little bit more, because since her breasts are so large, there wouldn't be as much of a gap between the two of them. Just rounding out some of the edges a little bit. And then I'm going to continue in here, bring this down, and I'm going to widen off some of these areas as well. Bring that out a little. Same with this one. So just making the curve out a little. Making sure these edges follow the curve that we created and doesn't straighten everything off a little bit. I'll bring it too much, so we'll bring these out a little bit more as well to widen out the belly area. And I'll go back into orthographic view. I'll grab this one here. I'm going to go back down and back a little to mark where the belly button would be. And I'm just going to bring these forward and these ones back just ever so slightly. So it's just going to mark where the muscles meet. Now, obviously, the muscle on the abdomen isn't one great big muscle. Just like men, women will get a six-pack if they work out, but Selena is not ripped. So we're just going to give her a definition, but we're not going to pack on the muscle. Okay, so that looks good. So if we bring back symmetry and my turbo smooth, I'll turn off edges. There we go, much better. So we can see where the center of the stomach lies and drops down into the belly button, and our back is better defined as well. Okay, so I might just go in here a little bit, maybe just a little bit more out, and I'll bring this one up a little bit. That was too much. So these can be small tweaks sometimes, but they can make a huge difference on the overall shape of our model. Okay, there we go. Alright, so to finish off, one last thing we'll do is I'll get rid of the turbo smooth and the symmetry, and I will making sure that our pivot point is still 0 on at least the X. It shouldn't have moved as we were modeling, but just making sure before we do. So I'm going to now clone on a copy of my body and hit OK, and I'm going to mirror it over to the other side and just collapse that. I'm then going to hit F4 to bring my edges up, and I'm going to join the two halves together. And in front view, I'm going to drag and try and select just the center of our character. It won't matter too much if we grab the rest of them. In fact, why don't we just grab the whole lot? Then we'll go down and hit weld settings, and again, very small amount threshold. I'll move this up over here. Very small threshold, so I might add another 0 in there. And we can see that we've got obviously verts to weld, so that'll be around the center. Now hopefully anything else should already be welded. So I'm just going to have a quick look and make sure that, again, it's not pulling something in from somewhere that it shouldn't, and everything looks to be pretty good. So I'm going to hit OK. So now we've got one complete mesh, and she's good to go. Our last thing will be to reset our X forms again. So just collapse all, and there we go, Selena's body. And we'll save that as Selena combined body. Okay. And that's it for the body. We'll move on to the head next.